She had $18.50. That's it. Crumpled bills and coins she'd saved for 3 whole months. And she was about to spend every penny on something that would make her mama cry. But what happened in that store wasn't just about a gift. It was about dignity, dreams, and a stranger who saw something nobody else did. It was a Tuesday afternoon, right after school let out. The mall smelled like cinnamon pretzels and floor cleaner. 8-year-old Maya Thompson pushed through the glass doors of Belk department store, her backpack bouncing against her small frame. She wore a purple hoodie with a small stain on the sleeve, jeans that were a little too short, and pink sneakers with the laces fraying at the ends. In her right hand, she clutched a Ziploc bag. Inside, carefully folded, were 3 $5 bills, 2 ones, and a handful of quarters and dimes. She'd been saving her lunch money, birthday money from her grandma, and the quarters she found under couch cushions. All of it for one reason. Her mama's birthday was 2 days away. Maya walked past the toy section without even glancing at it. She didn't stop at the candy aisle or the book display. She knew exactly where she was going. The perfume counter. Row after row of sparkling bottles sat under bright lights, each one more expensive than the last. Maya's heart pounded as she approached. A saleswoman stood behind the counter, checking her phone. She had perfectly painted nails and a name tag that read, Sandra. When she looked up and saw Maya, her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Can I help you, sweetie?" Sandra asked, her tone polite but distant. Maya stepped closer. "Yes, ma'am. I'm looking for perfume. For my mama." Sandra glanced at the Ziploc bag in Maya's hand. "Do you know which one?" Maya pointed to a bottle on the second shelf. It was elegant, simple, with a soft pink label. "That one. I smelled it last time we were here." She said it was pretty but too expensive. Sandra picked up the bottle and scanned the price tag. "This one is $42. Maya's face fell. She opened the Ziploc bag slowly and started counting out loud. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 50 cents. The silence that followed felt heavy. Sandra sighed. "Honey, you're about $24 short." Maya's fingers trembled as she stared at the money in her hands. She'd counted it 100 times at home. She thought maybe, just maybe, it would be enough. Her throat tightened, but she didn't cry. Not yet. Behind her, 2 women whispered loud enough for Maya to hear. "Where's her mother? Probably lets her run around unsupervised. She shouldn't be in here wasting people's time." Maya's ears burned. She carefully folded the bills back into the Ziploc bag. "I'm sorry," she whispered to Sandra. "I thought I had enough." Sandra's expression softened just a little. "Maybe you can find something smaller? We have travel-size perfumes over here for $15. Maya followed her to a different shelf. The bottles were tiny. They didn't look special. They didn't look like something her mama would treasure. But Maya nodded anyway. "I'll take one of those." As Sandra rang it up, Maya stared at the big bottle on the shelf. She wanted so badly to give her mama something beautiful. Something that said, "I see how hard you work. I see you." "That'll be $16.03 with tax," Sandra said. Maya counted again. $18.50 minus $16.03 left her with $2.47. Enough for the bus ride home. She handed over the bills. And that's when a voice came from behind her. "Come, steady. Wait." Maya turned around. A woman stood there, maybe in her late 40s, wearing a navy blazer and holding a leather purse. Her eyes were warm. She looked at Maya, then at the small perfume bottle, then at the big one still sitting on the counter. "Is that the one you really wanted?" the woman asked, pointing to the $42 bottle. Maya nodded slowly, confused. The woman smiled. "Then that's the one you should get." What the stranger did next didn't just change Maya's day. It changed her entire life. And her mother's. And maybe if you stick around, it'll change yours too. Keep watching because what happens next will surprise you. And if this story touches your heart, hit that like button right now. The woman stepped forward and placed her credit card on the counter before Maya could say a word. "Ring up the larger bottle," she said to Sandra. "The one she wanted." Sandra blinked, surprised. "Are you sure?" "Completely." Maya stood frozen. Her mind raced. Stranger danger. Her mama always told her never to take things from strangers. But this didn't feel wrong. It felt different. "I can't," Maya started. The woman knelt down so they were at eye level. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Maya." "Hi, Maya. I'm Miss Diane. And I'm not trying to scare you or trick you. I just think your mama deserves that bottle you picked out. Don't you?" Maya nodded, her eyes filling with tears she'd been holding back. "Then let me do this." "Okay." Maya whispered, "Why?" Ms. Diane paused. Her eyes softened, and for a moment, she looked far away, like she was remembering something. "Because a long time ago, someone helped me when I needed it. And I promised myself I'd do the same when I could." Sandra processed the payment, and within moments, the beautiful perfume was being wrapped in tissue paper and placed in a small pink gift bag with ribbon handles. Maya stared at it like it was made of gold. "Thank you," Maya said, her voice cracking. "Thank you so much." Ms. Diane stood up and smiled. "You're welcome. Now, how are you getting home?" "I'm taking the bus." "Where do you live?" Maya hesitated, but something in Ms. Diane's face made her feel safe. "Edgewood Apartments. It's about 4 miles from here." Ms. Diane frowned gently. "That's a long ride. Does your mom know you're here?" Maya looked down. "She's at work. She works at the hospital. Then she goes to her second job at the grocery store. My grandma's home, though. She knows where I am." Ms. Diane's face shifted. Not with pity. With understanding. With recognition. 2 jobs, Ms. Diane repeated quietly. "Yes, ma'am. She works real hard. That's why I wanted to get her something special." Ms. Diane's eyes glistened. She reached into her purse and pulled out a business card. "Maya, I want you to do something for me. When you give your mama that gift, I want you to give her this too. Tell her to call me." Maya looked at the card. It read, "Diane Mitchell, Director of Nursing Education, St. Mary's Hospital Foundation." "Why?" Maya asked. "Because I think your mama and I need to talk. Will you give it to her?" Maya nodded and tucked the card carefully into her backpack. "Good. Now, let me at least walk you to the bus stop. I want to make sure you get there safe." As they walked out of the store together, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. She valued. Like she mattered. But what Maya didn't know yet was that the woman walking beside her wasn't just being kind. She was about to open a door that had been locked shut for years. Don't go anywhere. This story gets even more powerful. If you're feeling this, drop a comment below and let me know. They walked side by side down the busy street. The sun was starting to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows on the pavement. Ms. Diane didn't rush. She walked at Maya's pace, letting the little girl lead the way. "So, Maya," Ms. Diane said gently, "tell me about your mama. What's her name?" "Patricia. Patricia Thompson. But everybody calls her Miss Patty." "And she works at the hospital?" "Yes, ma'am. She's a patient care aide. She helps the nurses. She changes sheets and brings people food and makes sure they're comfortable. She says it's hard work, but she loves helping people." Ms. Diane nodded thoughtfully. "That's a beautiful job. Does she like it?" Maya's face brightened. "She loves it. But..." Her voice dropped. "She says she wishes she could do more. She wanted to be a nurse. A real one. But she had to stop school when she had me." Ms. Diane stopped walking. She had to stop nursing school? Maya nodded. Yeah. My grandma told me. Mama was in her second year, but then I was born and my daddy left, and she couldn't afford it anymore. So she dropped out and started working. The weight of that truth hung in the air. Miss Diane took a slow breath. How old are you, Maya? I'll be 9 in July. And your mama's been working 2 jobs since then? Pretty much. Grandma helps a lot. She picks me up from school and makes dinner. But mama's always working. Sometimes I don't see her for 2 whole days because she leaves before I wake up and comes home after I'm asleep. Miss Diane's jaw tightened, not in anger, but in something deeper. Respect. Sorrow. Recognition. That must be hard, she said softly. Maya shrugged. I'm used to it. But I know it's harder for her. I hear her crying sometimes. Late at night when she thinks I'm asleep. She cries about bills and rent and stuff. Miss Diane stopped at the corner and knelt down again. She looked Maya directly in the eyes. Your mama is one of the strongest women I've never met, she said. And you know what? You're just like her. Maya blinked. How? Because you saved for 3 months just to make her smile. That's love. That's sacrifice. That's strength. Maya smiled for the first time since they left the store. A real smile. They reached the bus stop, and Ms. Diane waited with her until the bus arrived. Before Maya got on, Ms. Diane squeezed her shoulder gently. Remember, give her the card. Tell her I said it's important. I will, Maya promised. And Maya? Yes, ma'am. You did good today. Real good. Maya climbed onto the bus, clutching the pink gift bag like it held the whole world. As the bus pulled away, Ms. Diane stood on the sidewalk, watching until it disappeared around the corner. She pulled out her phone and made a note. Patricia Thompson, patient care aide. St. Mary's, former nursing student, single mother. Follow up immediately. Because Miss Diane wasn't just a kind stranger. She was someone who had been exactly where Patricia was. And she knew what it felt like to be one break away from giving up. But she also knew what it felt like to be given a chance. And now, she was about to give Patricia hers. Stay with me. You're not going to believe what happens when Patricia opens that gift. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss stories like this. Patricia Thompson walked through the front door at 9:47 p.m. Her blue scrubs were wrinkled. Her feet ached in her worn sneakers. She carried a plastic grocery bag with her work shoes and a half-eaten sandwich she never had time to finish. Mama! Maya's voice rang out from the couch. Patricia smiled, exhausted but genuine. Hey, baby girl. You still up? Grandma let me wait for you. Patricia's mother, Mrs. Lorraine, appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She's been sitting there for an hour. Wouldn't go to bed till you got home. Patricia dropped her bag by the door and sat down next to Maya. What's going on? You okay? Maya's eyes sparkled. She pulled the pink gift bag from behind her back. Happy early birthday, Mama. Patricia froze. Her hand went to her mouth. Maya, baby, what is this? Open it. Patricia carefully pulled out the tissue paper and lifted the perfume bottle. The same one she'd admired months ago. The one she told herself she'd never be able to afford. Her hands started shaking. How did you? Her voice broke. I saved my money. For 3 whole months. Every dollar I could. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. Maya, you didn't have to do this. Yes, I did. You work so hard, Mama. You never buy yourself anything. I wanted you to have something pretty. Something just for you. Patricia pulled Maya into her arms and held her tight. She sobbed. Not sad tears. Grateful, overwhelmed, heartbroken, and proud all at once. Mrs. Lorraine stood in the doorway, wiping her own eyes. After a long moment, Patricia pulled back and looked at her daughter. This is the most beautiful thing anyone's ever given me. You know that? Maya grinned. There's something else. She pulled out the business card and handed it to her mother. Patricia's expression changed as she read it. Confusion. Curiosity. Fear. Who is Diane Mitchell? She's the lady who helped me buy the perfume. I didn't have enough money, and she paid the rest. She said you should call her. She said it's important. Patricia stared at the card. Her mind raced. Why would a director from the hospital foundation want to talk to her? Mrs. Lorraine leaned over her shoulder and read the card. Nursing education, she said slowly. Patty, you need to call her. What if it's nothing? What if she just wants to make sure Maya's okay? Or, Mrs. Lorraine said firmly, what if it's something? You won't know unless you call. Patricia looked at the card again. Then at the perfume. Then at her daughter, who was watching her with hopeful eyes. Okay, Patricia whispered. I'll call her tomorrow. That night, Patricia couldn't sleep. She lay in bed holding that business card, wondering what it could mean. Wondering if maybe, just maybe, something was about to change. And she was right. Because when she made that call the next morning, her entire world shifted. I promise you, what comes next is going to blow your mind. Comment below if you think you know what happens. And if you haven't liked this video yet, do it now. Patricia called during her lunch break. She sat in her car in the hospital parking lot, hands trembling as she dialed the number. The phone rang twice. Diane Mitchell speaking. Patricia cleared her throat. Hi, Ms. Mitchell. My name is Patricia Thompson. You met my daughter yesterday at the mall. Maya. She said you wanted me to call? There was a pause. Then warmth flooded through the line. Patricia. Thank you so much for calling. I've been hoping to hear from you. I just wanted to say thank you for helping Maya. She was so happy. She's a beautiful child. So polite. So determined. And when she told me about you, I knew I had to reach out. Patricia frowned. About me? Yes. Patricia, Maya told me you're a patient care aide here at St. Mary's. And that you were once in nursing school. Patricia's chest tightened. That was a long time ago. But it's still something you want, isn't it? Patricia's throat closed. She didn't know what to say. Finally, she whispered, every day. Diane's voice softened. I thought so. Patricia, can I tell you something? Okay. 23 years ago, I was you. Single mother. 2 jobs. Dropped out of nursing school because I couldn't afford childcare and tuition. I worked as a housekeeper at a hospital, dreaming of wearing scrubs and actually caring for patients. I thought that dream was dead. Patricia sat up straighter. What happened? A woman I barely knew paid for me to go back to school. She covered my tuition, helped me find childcare, and told me the only condition was that someday I'd do the same for someone else. Patricia's heart pounded. And now you're Director of Nursing Education. And I run a scholarship program for women exactly like you. Women who've had to put their dreams on hold. Women who deserve a second chance. Patricia couldn't breathe. Patricia, I want to offer you a full scholarship to complete your nursing degree. Tuition covered. Books covered. We'll even provide a monthly stipend for childcare and living expenses. All you have to do is say yes. Silence. Patricia's hands shook so hard she almost dropped the phone. Why? She finally whispered. You don't even know me. I know enough. I know you're raising a daughter who saved for 3 months just to buy you a birthday gift. I know you work 2 jobs and still smile when you walk through that hospital. I know you dream of more but think it's impossible. And I know that's exactly who deserves this chance. Tears streamed down Patricia's face. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Patricia sobbed. Yes. Oh my God, yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Diane's voice cracked with emotion. You're going to do amazing things, Patricia. I already know it. They talked for another 20 minutes. Diane explained the program, the timeline, the application process. It wasn't a handout. Patricia would still have to work hard. But the door that had been locked for 8 years was finally open. When Patricia hung up, she sat in her car and cried. She cried for every late night she'd worked exhausted. Every bill she couldn't pay. Every time she heard Maya ask, "When will you be home, Mama?" and had to say, "I don't know, baby." And she cried because for the first time in years, she felt hope. But this was just the beginning. The hardest part was still ahead. This story is about to get even more emotional. If you're still with me, drop a heart emoji in the comments. And subscribe so you never miss these powerful stories. The next 6 months were the hardest of Patricia's life. And the best. She enrolled in the accelerated nursing program at the community college. Classes 3 nights a week and every Saturday. She kept her job at the hospital but quit the grocery store. The stipend Diane's program provided covered what she lost. Maya noticed everything. She saw her mama studying at the kitchen table late into the night, highlighter in hand, textbooks spread out like a battlefield. She saw the exhaustion. But she also saw something new. Her mama smiled more. At school, Maya told her teacher, "My mama's going to be a nurse." This time, no one laughed. Her teacher said, "That's wonderful, Maya. You must be so proud." Patricia's first exam was terrifying. She sat in the testing room surrounded by students 10 years younger, feeling out of place. But when she got her score back, she'd earned a 92. She called Diane immediately. "I did it. I actually did it." Diane laughed. "Of course you did. I never doubted you." But not everything was easy. Some weeks, Patricia wanted to quit. The material was hard. Balancing work, school, and being a mom felt impossible. One night, she broke down at the kitchen table, sobbing over an anatomy textbook. Maya found her there. "Mama, what's wrong?" "I can't do this, baby. It's too much. I'm too tired." Maya climbed into her lap, even though she was getting too big for it. "You always tell me, we don't give up. Right?" Patricia looked at her daughter through tears. "Right. Then you can't give up either." Patricia held her tight. And the next day, she went back to class. Diane checked in regularly. Coffee once a month. Phone calls when Patricia felt overwhelmed. She didn't just give money. She gave mentorship, wisdom, a reminder that someone believed in her. And slowly, Patricia started believing in herself. She aced her clinical rotations. Patients loved her. Professors noticed her dedication. One told her, "You have a gift, Patricia. Don't ever forget that." The night before graduation, Patricia sat on the edge of Maya's bed. "Tomorrow's the big day," Maya said, grinning. "I'm nervous." "But you already did all the hard stuff." Patricia smiled. "You're right. But none of this would have happened without you, you know." Maya frowned. "What do you mean?" "If you hadn't gone to that store to buy me a gift, if you hadn't met Ms. Diane, if you hadn't been brave enough to try, even when you didn't have enough money, none of this would have happened. You changed everything, baby girl." Maya hugged her mama tight. "We did it together. And that's the truth. Because courage isn't just one moment. It's showing up every day, even when you're scared. Even when you're tired. Even when you don't think you're enough. We're almost at the best part. Stay with me. And if this is inspiring you, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it." The auditorium was packed. Rows of families, flowers, balloons, and noise. Patricia stood backstage in her white nursing uniform, cap in hand, heart racing. She peeked through the curtain. Maya sat in the front row next to Mrs. Lorraine, wearing a yellow dress and holding a bouquet of daisies. And next to them, to Patricia's surprise, sat Ms. Diane. When the ceremony began, Patricia's name was called. Patricia N. Thompson, Bachelor of Science in Nursing. The applause was loud, but all Patricia heard was Maya's voice screaming, "That's my mama." She walked across the stage, shook hands, and received her diploma. When she looked out into the crowd, she saw 3 women crying. Her mother, her daughter, and the stranger who became family. After the ceremony, Maya ran to her and jumped into her arms. "You did it, Mama. You really did it." Patricia held her tight, tears streaming. "We did it, baby." Diane approached, arms open. They hugged like old friends. "I'm so proud of you," Diane whispered. Patricia pulled back and reached into her purse. She handed Diane an envelope. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside was a check for $500 and a handwritten note. "For the next woman. Because the chain doesn't stop here." Diane's hands trembled. She looked up at Patricia with tears in her eyes. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did. You gave me a chance. Now I'm giving someone else theirs." They both cried. Right there in the crowded lobby, surrounded by strangers celebrating their own victories, 2 women who understood struggle and grace held each other. Maya watched, not fully understanding, but knowing it was important. The following Monday, Patricia started her new job as a registered nurse at St. Mary's Hospital. Same building, different uniform, different future. And every time she walked past the patient care aides, she smiled and said, "Keep going. Your time is coming." Because she knew. She'd lived it. This is why I share stories like this. Because we need to be reminded what's possible. Comment below if this moved you. And please, subscribe so more people can see this. So let's talk about what this story really means. Because this isn't just about a gift. It's not even just about a scholarship or a degree. This story is about something so much deeper. Something that every single one of us needs to understand. It's about being seen. Think about it. When Maya walked into that department store with her $18.50, what did people see? Most saw a little girl with no business being there. They saw worn shoes and a Ziploc bag full of coins. They saw someone wasting time. Someone who didn't belong. Some even whispered that she was unsupervised, that her mother should have known better. They looked at her, but they didn't see her. But Diane? She saw something completely different. She saw a daughter who had sacrificed her lunch money for 3 months. She saw love in action. She saw a child who understood the weight her mother carried and wanted to lighten it, even just for a moment. She saw dignity, determination, and pure-hearted love. And because Diane chose to truly see Maya, everything changed. Here's what I need you to understand. Seeing people isn't the same as looking at them. We look at people every day. We pass them in stores, on the street, in our workplaces. We glance, we judge, we make assumptions, and we move on. But seeing? That's different. Seeing requires us to pause. To recognize someone's humanity. To acknowledge that the person in front of us has a story, a struggle, a dream that matters just as much as ours. When we see people, we stop reducing them to what they look like, where they come from, or what they can afford. We start recognizing who they are and who they're fighting to become. Patricia worked 2 jobs for 8 years. She changed hospital beds, brought patients their meals, cleaned floors, and smiled through exhaustion. And you know what most people saw? Just another aide. Just another worker doing a job. But Diane saw a woman who had put her dreams on hold to raise her daughter. She saw a mother who deserved a second chance. She saw potential that had been buried under bills and double shifts and years of being told, maybe next time. And Maya? Maya saw her mother's worth long before anyone else did. She didn't see a woman who couldn't afford nice things. She saw the strongest person she'd ever known. She saw sacrifice. She saw unconditional love. And she wanted to honor it. That's the power of seeing. Now here's the hard truth. Most of us walk through life blind. Not because we're bad people, but because we're distracted. We're busy. We're caught up in our own struggles. And so we miss the moments that matter. We miss the people who need us to see them. But what if we didn't? What if the next time you're in line at the grocery store and someone's card gets declined, you don't look away in secondhand embarrassment? What if you see them? What if you offer to cover it, or at the very least, offer a kind word instead of judgment? What if the next time you see a parent struggling with their kids in public, instead of rolling your eyes and thinking they should have more control, you see them? What if you remember that parenting is hard, that everyone's doing their best, and that a simple smile or a "you're doing great" could change their entire day? What if the next time a coworker seems off, instead of assuming they're difficult or lazy, you see them? What if you ask, "Are you okay?" and actually wait for the answer? Because here's what this story proves. One moment of truly seeing someone can change the trajectory of their entire life. Diane didn't just give Patricia money. She gave her belief. She gave her permission to dream again. She gave her a mirror that reflected back not what the world said she was, but what she'd always been capable of becoming. And Patricia? She didn't just earn a degree. She reclaimed her identity. She showed her daughter that it's never too late. She proved that struggle doesn't define you, how you rise from it does. And now, she's paying it forward, helping the next woman who feels invisible. That's the ripple effect. That's the legacy. But it all started with one little girl who refused to let her circumstances define her love. Maya could have been embarrassed. She could have walked out of that store ashamed. But she didn't. Because she knew her worth wasn't tied to how much money she had. Her worth was in her heart. And her love for her mother was bigger than anyone's judgment. So let me ask you directly, who can you see today? Who in your life is counting change and hoping it's enough? Who's working 2 jobs and wondering if anyone notices? Who's dreaming quietly but convinced it's impossible? Who's standing right in front of you, hoping someone will finally look past the surface and see their value? Maybe it's your coworker who's always tired. Maybe it's the single parent in your neighborhood. Maybe it's your own child, trying to tell you something important but afraid you're too busy to listen. Maybe it's even yourself, the dreams you've buried, the worth you've forgotten, the potential you've stopped believing in. See them. See yourself. And then act. You don't have to be rich to make a difference. Diane had resources, yes. But before she had money, she had empathy. She had memory. She remembered what it felt like to be Patricia. And that memory moved her to action. You have that same power. You can offer respect when the world offers judgment. You can offer encouragement when the world offers silence. You can offer presence when the world offers distraction. Those things don't cost a dime, but they're worth everything. Because somewhere right now, there's another Maya walking into a store with hope in her heart and not enough money in her hands. There's another Patricia crying at a kitchen table, wondering if she'll ever be more than exhausted. There's another Diane who was once broken but now has the chance to heal someone else. Which one will you be? Will you be the person who whispers judgment? Or will you be the person who steps forward with grace? Will you look past people? Or will you finally see them? This story isn't entertainment. It's a mirror. It's asking you to reflect on how you move through the world. How you treat people. How you respond when someone needs help. How you show up when it would be easier to walk away. Maya bought her mama a gift. A stranger stepped in. And 3 lives changed forever. But really it was one choice. One decision to see instead of look. One moment of compassion instead of indifference. And that's all it takes. So I'm challenging you today. Be the person who sees. Be the person who steps in. Be the person who changes everything. Because you have more power than you think. Your words matter. Your actions matter. Your kindness creates ripples you'll never fully see. And the world doesn't need perfect people. It needs present people. People who care. People who choose love over judgment. People who refuse to walk past someone in need. If this story moved you, then do something with that feeling. Don't just watch and forget. Subscribe to this channel so you keep getting reminders like this. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe someone who's struggling, or someone who has the power to help. And drop a comment below. Tell me what this made you feel. Tell me who you're going to see differently today. I read every single comment, And your words inspire me to keep sharing these stories. Because that's what we're building here. Not just a channel. A community. A space where we remember our humanity. Where we celebrate the helpers. Where we honor the survivors. Where we remind each other that love, sacrifice, and courage are never wasted. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching until the end. Thank you for caring enough to let this story into your heart. And remember, someone out there is waiting for you to see them. Don't make them wait any longer. See you in the next story. Now go be someone's answered prayer.